Wassail, beautiful people. I was trying to be somber. I don't drink, I'm sober. Somber and reverent, because this, remember the 5th of November. For those of you that don't know this, it comes from 1605-ish, when there was a Catholic plot in England to assassinate the king, because he was the first king after Elizabeth I, and she had no children, and so she invited the Scottish king down. And you know, not only was he a Protestant and people really wanted to return to Catholicism, Roman Catholicism, I want to add that because this Roman aspect is going to keep ringing for the moment, as opposed to the Greek Galactic. So yeah, they had hatred towards him. They had religious hatred. They had racism that he wasn't English, he was Scottish, which, you know, became British in many ways eventually, and then stopped doing that. It's all so confusing. But so anyway, he was going to blow up Parliament, and somebody wrote, a servant, I believe, wrote to one of the Catholic members of Parliament and said, don't go in today because something terrible is going to happen. And so of course they all got caught, and then they were tortured. And here's another really fascinating reference. Look, if you get a trigger warning, don't listen to this bit, skip forward, because it is a bit gruesome. So the Attorney General at the time, Sir Edward Coke, when they were taken to trial and he was passing verdict on them, he said that the members of the plot should be dragged by their feet backwards with their head smashing into the ground, because they didn't deserve to be buried or to go to heaven, because they were such an abomination. And then he suggested that just like Saturn did to Uranus, their genitals should be cut off in front of their eyes and burnt as they watched their genitals. And then they should have their bowels and their hearts removed. And then they should finally be decapitated and quartered. So eventually, when it came to the date of the execution in 1606, Guy Fawkes was only 35. And we have our fireworks day. We burn Guy Fawkes on the fire, traditionally, to say we are Protestants, we do not need your Catholicism. And that's our fireworks night, the 5th of November. So when they were finally executed, they were in fact just hanged. Guy Fawkes had been so badly tortured, he struggled to get up the ladder. He was the last one up, and something went a bit wrong. So anyway, somehow he tripped, he fell, anyway, he broke his neck. And although he was dead, because he'd been tortured and he couldn't walk properly, but although he was now dead, they still quartered his body, cut him into quarters, and took the quarters to the 4 corners of the country to display so that no one would do it again. Now, it reminded me of when I was in Chichen Itza in Mexico. It's one of the most famous temples. It's amazing. But there is a whole area there where it's a Temple of the Skulls. And the guide was saying that there was this really gruesome thing that they did, which was they used to kill people, cut off their heads and put them on spikes. And it was about 500-600 years ago, the Aztecs. And I said to him, look, they did that in London. And this is a perfect example. If you want to control people, you control them through fear. And that's exactly what's going on again. So this water trine energy, I'm picking up this frequency where basically you can transform the anger that we've had in those 2 recent readings. And there was so much fury, but there is so much anger out there. Unresolved, unnurtured, unloved anger, unfaced anger. And there is a real sense, because of the way we've got this lineup at the moment, Mars has finally gone on the 5th into Leo. So now Mars has a chance to fix in a new attitude or get more angry. And I think there's going to be a lot of people out there, the moment this comforting transitional opportunity slips away, there's going to be still a lot of roaring rage. So get on the right side of it. Don't concern yourself. See other people's rage as simply their inability to face their fears. See their rage as a way to hate other people. See this rage that people will display as a bit sad, really, that they're so damaged that they can't accept that we can all be individual, because that's really what this is about. We're all divine individuals. And what's interesting about this story is it's about, more than anything, a kind of religious hatred. And that's something which has been throughout history. You know, I have found my faith, I have found my religion, and everyone else is wrong. What? I'm sorry, we really need to stress that. The idea that God is so one-dimensional is a nonsense. Anyway, let's just go in. Let's see what's going on. Oh, sorry, there's another thing I need to mention. There's a secondary kite head, and the secondary kite head, the main one is obviously Pluto, Uranus and Mercury, with Mars downloading all that energy still. Pluto is still waiting and accepting. He's still pulling energy from angry Mars. And then the other secondary kite that's appeared has Neptune at the top, and it has Uranus and Pluto. So Uranus and Pluto are in both of the kite heads. They're doing this kind of exchange. What's Uranus? Change. Pluto's offering energy, communicating to Uranus, and Uranus is transforming it. Sorry, I was just looking at something there. Anyway, let's just see what the cards want to share. Because I'm doing another day where I've talked for 7 minutes. Just thinking maybe I should put a timestamp in for the people that don't want to hear what I was just about to repeat then. It's just this fascinating that it's the story of the castration of Uranus and Saturn and Pluto. Generational trauma. Right, there's 2 on the floor, 3 on the floor. There, and there is Uranus. This is the primordial thought changer. This is the opportunity to develop, to become something else, to feel, to think, to love differently. This is B. Consciousness. Right, so there's 2 things being activated on that consciousness. The first is a kind of mucus vision, sort of like a blurring across the eye that sees the now rather than the eye that sees the past. It's almost like this moment, this bit, it's about you've seen the past clearly. Now look at the reality of what's in front of you and see through the now. And then a really powerful G-sharp Mercury energy. Again, I'm getting pineal gland because we've got, the next card is Sagittarius, and that's G, because of Jupiter. You see, again, it's ancestral lines. And the last card, just so that you got it, is opposition. And that opposition feels like it's referring to, I get it now, Sagittarius. This reading is so strongly about Sagittarius. I'll come to the B and the G in a minute. So right now, there's a massive build-up in Sagittarius. And so in Sagittarius, we've now got Mercury at 3 degrees as part of this trine, remember. Also in there, Pallas Athena, Persephone, Destin, Silver, Talent, Asclepius, and Serene, who's the siren. And the moon. Sorry, and the moon. Because the moon is wanting to remind us that this is a moon cycle. We're in the moment, we're in the fully fledged whirlpool of a moon cycle. So there was the new moon in Scorpio on the 1st. Then we got the full moon on the 15th in Taurus, fixing in our new ideas. Then we have the new moon in Sagittarius, which is on the front screen. And that's the new philosophical mission, changing the way we move forwards, in the way in which we think, in the way in which we feel. Philosophies are not some kind of crusty old, Platonian reference book that's been translated for you to understand something. It's how we live, how we feel, how we think, and how we don't judge, because we got past it. So Sagittarius is the house of the bard, hero of the heart. It's the orchestral repair shop. It's about when we open up and we soften the passions. So I was being given this energy this morning of water putting out the fire, water putting out the anger. Put the anger into the water to have it cool down. And breathe deeply from the bottom of the stomach. Push your stomach out to breathe in and let it go back down. Just, if you want to, lie down on a bed, put a huge pile of books on your belly, and every time you want to breathe in, push the books up into the air and let them come back down again. The thing is, there's been a kind of angry breath that has taken over from gentle breath, from calm breath, from sensible breath. Angry breath is when we overbreathe. We just keep doing it to pump in more and more oxygen into the blood. The blood gets faster, everything gets faster, and then because there's so much speed and rage, like in that reading the other day, what it tends to do is it means you can't deal with that level of speed, and so you have to freeze your emotions. And that's something which this currently is wanting us to transform. Yeah, let them come up, let them be witnessed, but attach an emotional ownership to the rages and the furies to calm them. Don't freeze them, because that's just putting them in your gin bottle. So let's put together the B and the G. So this is the great Jupiter cleansing wings. It's like having your angel wings. It cleanses all notes that come in. And so there's some energy here which is about a new philosophy. If you are cleansing what comes in through your crown, you are re-philosophizing. And remember, this is all quantumly entangled between your consciousness down here in the body and your consciousness up there, or in there, or down there, or in however you look at it, but your higher divine consciousness. Too fast. So on the backs of the cards, we have polarities. Sagittarius, I am fearful, I am courageous. You see, I do love that there are certain shadow energies that you can look at with your current moral compass and tut. And then as you re-philosophize and understand the necessity for light and dark in everything we do, you can let go of it. But so fearful or courageous, and then Uranus is static or changed. Be changed, be changed. Let's change the world. Let's change everyone in it too. So, I need to move my legs. I'm doing this every day. It's because I sit here on the floor. Ow. And I sit here for too long before I start the reading. Let's just bring that down a bit. There's too much zone above my head. So let's see what else. I'm going to leave that one there. I don't know that we need it. See, now we have air, Gemini. Mutable air, Sagittarius, mutable fire. It's almost like trying to inflame. This energy of trying to inflame, trying to wind up, trying to bring out the rage is going on around you. And as this grand water trine collapses, it's now down to us to be that water trine to ourselves, to just remain calm in the face of fury. Yeah, look, we've got air. But the air's coming across as a very cooling, gentle, submissive editing of, there's something here, because I'm sure, yeah, weaponizes gossip. That's what's going to be coming now. Right now is the weaponizing of gossip. See, there's a lot of Tesla code, but not really the 6. The 6 only appears as part of an 8. I've got Aquavita, which is a 9. Uranus, which is 23.5 change, obviously. But here, look, we've got 9 for Sagittarius, 3 for Gemini, and 9-1, which is a 10 to complete something. But what we're really missing is the outside world. We are quantumly entangled to the outside world. The next period of time until the 15th, it feels like, is a moment when you mustn't get caught up in the gossip, the fury, the fixation that people have with what's going on around them, what makes them cross. It's almost like if you don't go into this Zen energy, everyone else is just out there fueling their own fires. They want to be enraged. That's the energy I feel that's going on for the next 10 days. Ooh, love that energy. So what else do we have here? This card, Aquavita, is really fascinating. There's something today which is don't look, just don't get involved. Go inside for the next 10 days and just be content. Je suis content. Feel that energy of being just gentle wind chimes, that energy, because this is, I want to say, it says owning mistakes. we've kind of been doing that with the water trine. So now that's done, that's edited into our mainframe. But the rest of the world won't have done it, and they'll still be not able to own mistakes. Giant mistakes is the energy of the gossip. And it is time to skip that track, to be heartened. The thing is, they are all on the right-wrong pathway. It has to be trod. It has to be trod. You, however, will be laughing at the pain in the shadows, because that has to be experienced. So that's song cycles, patterns that repeat. Song cycles, it's a different song, but it's all part of the same unit, and eventually that whole song cycle gets played through, and then it can be put down and you can pick up a new song cycle. The world isn't quite at the last movement of the final song. So we need to be comfortable in our own cycle. So we've got this energy here of F sharp, that's a really fascinating melody. So it has F of the lower heart, Saturn, he of the genital chopping of Uranus. But it really has become a different story. There's a reason for all of these things when we understand them. So we have Saturn, because obviously Saturn rules Aquarius. And also Saturn's energy is really important here, because the Saturn and Jupiter, and we had the G of Jupiter in Sagittarius, they had their conjunction on the 21st of the 12th, 2020 at 0 degrees of Aquarius, which is where Pluto will be on the 19th. So that's the F. Then we've got the F sharp, G flat of Venus, because Libra is an air sign. Then we have the G sharp of Mercury, throat, and that's why that was resonating. Think about these planets, look for them in your natal chart, see whether they have any particular relationship to each other. Particularly, I would say look out for any that are in opposition or trining currently. And then we have B of Uranus. Interesting. It's like they're all here, but the important ones are Uranus and Saturn. It's a beautiful, beautiful little tetrachord. So what's a tetrachord? In ancient Greek music, the lyre, and actually if you go earlier to the ragas of India, the perfect fourth is a really significant energy in the world. So this is not quite a tetrachord, because it's actually an augmented fourth between, but that's the energy of the consciousness needing to weave itself into the real world. But the lyres were tuned on fourths, and then the notes in between, you could select where you want them to be, and they became all the different modes as they are in the ragas. So I think I need to stop there, because I can just do another reading. I'm just going to pick up the card that was at the bottom, because it's kind of because it's a 5/8, it's a 13, it's a divine inspiration, it's this sextile energy. And there's so much sextiling going on all over. There really is, because if you look at the chart, you can see there's sextiles going on between all the great big generational planets. Neptune, Pluto, Uranus, and then personal planet, Mercury. It's a really interesting energy. Mercury's here in Gemini as well as being in the energy of Aquarius. So yeah, there's a lot of this energy, and it's I am unhelpful or I am supportive. But the energy here is to support you first, and then you can sweetly reach out to support others. But it's a period of creating supportive patterns for your own existence first. Collaborate with your divine self to induce change. Okay, so Wassail.